Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. I expect a better good morning, especially after having refreshments. Morning, accountants. Morning. Thank you very much. I know most people, when we talk about tax, people start to think of maybe penalties or whatever, but today it's a different fora. We are really here to discuss issues, just to give advice, what we should do, especially when we are looking at you guys who are very critical in terms of our operation as the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority. So we need to be relaxed. We need to know that we are partners in this agenda. Thank you. Is it working? I am pressing. I'm told that I have got very few. Thank you. Okay. I was told that I've got very few minutes, while least I had prepared so much, because I know there is so much to be unpacked when it comes to taxes and compliance. So when we are looking at the Zimbabwe evolving tax landscape demands, we see that it demands a modern compliance framework that balances efficient revenue collection with improved taxpayer services. And you find out that as the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, we are really transforming digitally, and also there's a lot of legislative reforms as a way of shaping up the way taxpayers need to meet their obligations, and how us as the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority need to administer the tax system. So when we are talking about this contest, especially when we are looking at compliance framework, you find that even from our mission as the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, we are here, we are there to really support the government, especially in terms of NDS2, as far as revenue, domestic revenue mobilization is concerned. So when I'm talking to you guys, I'm really happy that I'm talking to the people, because you find out that as we are looking at the way we do tax administration, as domestic taxes, we are the owners of the taxpayers, and our desire is to see that the taxpayers, they comply, they are not penalized, they are doing their business according to the law. So most of the time, you as accountants, we've got the tax agents, we've got the public officers for your different organizations. You are there to support us. We are there to work together so that you advise the taxpayer correctly in terms of the registration process, in terms of keeping correct records, and in terms of making sure that they are doing everything in line with the law. So I was listening to the panel here. I think it was Tinashe, if I'm not mistaken, when you were talking about how to keep the money. I was a bit confused, that people, even accountants, they are not depositing their monies. So if the accountants are not depositing their monies, what will happen to the taxpayers whom we are guiding or whom we are leading? So even as I was looking at your core values, honest, responsibility, integrity, which then dovetail very well with the values of ZIMRA. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's deposit our our monies, because I think in our next tax reform, banking money should be then mandatory. So, so because really, I then liked the other guy who was really referring a lot to the Bible. So in the Bible, there's also a verse which then says, "How can a blind man lead another blind man?" And then our first speaker spoke about when you want to influence people, when he was talking about politics in the work environment, he said you cannot influence others when you are not able to do it or you don't know it. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we are talking about compliance, please let's take note that we, the accountants, we really need to lead the taxpayers or our organizations in the right way, which we need to do business. And also, as I'm just unpacking this topic, I'm looking at us as in a partnership. When you are in a partnership, the goal is to succeed. So we need to collaborate. We need to support this issue of compliance. And you accountants, we are very important in this agenda, so that whatever we do, then it will assist in terms of compliance. So I was looking at accountants as a strategic partners, and I have already indicated that you are there to assist in terms of accurate financial reporting, ethical conduct. So, the discussion here was also based on that. We need to provide proper and correct tax advisory services, supporting compliance and adopting technology, and strengthening financial governance. I think we all know about terms. I'm going to talk about it, but since I was told that I should really cruise, please, you need to be picking those issues. So as our strategic partner, that's very important. What's happening here? You said this side. Okay, thank you. So when we look at the compliance imperative, because the whole idea is that we need to be compliant when it comes to taxes. So when we are looking at this, we are saying it's critical to ensure that the correct tax is paid, it's paid on time, and in the correct currency. Some of you all know this, what we mean when we are looking at correct amount, that's correct, accurate calculation in terms of the available tax rates and legislation, remitting all the statutory due dates, taxes on time. And now, in line with our SI 81, I think most of our dates, due dates were changed. When you are looking at payee and the withholding taxes, it's now the return should be in on the 5th, and then the payment by the 10th. And for VAT, the return need to be in by the 10th, and the payment, it needs to be there by the 15th. So when we are looking at this, especially looking at your theme and the landscape, we are saying we need to have a win-win position when we are implementing SIA 81 of 2025. Really, what it brought was standardization in terms of our return submission and payments. And when you comply, you don't think about penalties, you don't think about interest, you don't think about objecting. in real terms, in real thinking, when I'm looking at my work, those things, they just disturb our normal day-to-day work. When you comply, everything is pretty good. You don't have any issues with ZIMRA. And as I said, we will be then actually contributing to the growth of the economy and the nation. Okay. Now, I talked about terms. This is just at a glance, when we are looking at the digitalization, which we have embarked on as the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, it has really assisted us as we are looking at the nation's transformation towards Vision 2030, because in terms of the number of active taxpayers, we, after the deployment of the term system, that number, when we were using the 2023 to 2024 statistics, it increased to 153, and the growth from these new taxpayers by 238%. And when we are now looking at invoice, which were transmitted through the FDMS system, we are talking about around 12 million. So it means through this digital transformation, through terms and FDMS, ZIMRA has re-engineered the tax processes, improving compliance and also expanding the tax base and increasing revenue collection efficiency. What's happening? When I press the other side, it's always doing the opposite. Now, when we look at the system, I won't get into the detail of the system, and also SI 81, I won't get into the details because we know this, isn't it? It's not necessary, actually, because when you are looking at these are the issues which you deal with every day. So I won't be getting into the details, but safe to say, as I have said, we have just standardized the due dates in terms of payee, employee taxes, payers, we earn, pensions, aids levy, and also in terms of withholding taxes. We all know we have been doing presentation through the our taxpayer services sections from the different regions. Even the issue of our ZIC. What I want to emphasize when we are looking at compliance is that we need to know that there is dual occurrence and when you are reporting, when you are paying, save for the income tax, you need to pay in the currency of transaction. I think that is well known from our accountancy. And if your business or the organization or the taxpayers whom we are assisting, if they have aligned their financial system to this, then you will experience a smoother compliance with this requirement. And I said today, we don't want to talk about penalties. We are not talking about penalties. We are just advising each other that when we align to the requirements, to the legislative requirements, then we don't talk about the penalties and the like. The call from ZIMRA and even the Commissioner for Domestic Taxes is that we need to urge the taxpayers to regularize their tax affairs promptly. As soon as there is a legislative change or a reform, let's comply so that we then don't talk about these penalties and interest, which I'm sure from this fora we have passed that stage. In terms of terms, I think we are aware of terms, isn't it? And we are using it. Maybe the feedback is what is critical, but the key operational benefits which we have obtained, especially when we are looking at accountants, I think is the payment module. How many people like the payment module as accountants? We haven't used it. Okay. It seems like Masimba, people are not using terms. Yes, yes. I just wanted that confirmation that, unlike the previous system, you could not see your ledger from your side. Now from SSP, you can navigate, you can do everything. So I thought the payment module was really a good one, and it allows single payment to clear multiple tax obligations. So these are some of the benefits when you are looking at terms. And in terms of the impact, as I have already alluded to, it has increased the number of active taxpayers, online filing rate, it has increased return submission, and revenue growth. So overall terms has improved both operational efficiency and the quality of tax administration in Zimbabwe. And I am excited that I worked with this system from the start up to now, and we are actually going forward. We are going to have terms phase 2, so that we enhance, we correct, we update some of the issues which you were bringing to our attention. So as we are progressing as the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority with digitalization, there is also the fiscalization data management system. I think we are all aware of it as well. Are we aware of it? We are aware. It's very I think these are critical updates which you need to know as accountants, as directors for your different organizations, as public officers, and the like. So when we are looking at the FDMS, it's also an integrated back-end system solution for virtual fiscalization, and it interfaces live with fiscal gadgets. It has those properties, and of critical importance is that it also has a self-service portal where you can do everything. So through this system, it provides real visibility in terms of commercial transactions, and this has improved our VAT compliance and invoice verification, because you find that through the integration with terms, everything is verified, and you can now verify your input tax. We have reduced the number of objections through this, because you deal with most of the problems on your own, and it was also assisted in terms of our profiling, risk profiling, and reducing VAT fraud. So both, as I was saying, we are in a partnership. Both, when we are looking at the benefits, both the taxpayers and the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, it benefits. The taxpayers, they benefit. ZIMRA, it benefits through, you, as I have already alluded to, the real-time visibility of transactions, which reduces fraud and under-declaration. So to us, it's a plus, because when we are now doing our VAT audits, we just do the tests in the system, and if there is anything which is not correct from the real transaction of your operations, then we quickly inform you where you have over claimed. We really just reduce your VAT refund, and it has improved in terms of our turnaround for VAT refund and also for input tax verification. So from your side, I think an area which we had a bit of friction with the accountants for different organizations is when it comes to audits. So through the FDMS, that has also lowered that friction in terms of audit, different audits, whether it's comprehensive, whether it's a desk audit, or it's a VAT audit. So when we are looking at this, I think from the synopsis which I was given, it was like we need to discuss common risk issues, which both of us as partners, we need to take note of. So they are like, when we are looking at the side of the taxpayers, the fiscalization gaps in terms of fiscal devices, in terms of downtime, those are really real issues which we are facing. And the issue of VAT input output mismatches, withholding tax shortfalls, and weak audit trail in terms of record keeping. So we are saying when you are facing these, or when you are advised about these common risks, what is critical is then to say you need to reconcile fiscal data monthly from both sides, run periodic internal self reviews, and also to assign clear ownership and accountability on who will be doing this, and maintain a compliance calendar, so that when ZIMRA then checks through the system, everything will be above board. And there are some warnings from your side as public officers or accountants or auditors or tax agents. When there are repeated late or amended filings, something will be wrong with whoever will be doing your tax issues, refund claims which are inconsistent with the fiscal data, and those are the ones which will lead to delays when we are looking at our audits. And also non-response to ZIMRA queries. Let's take note, these are some of the issues which we are saying they are warnings, so that you improve the compliance rate. I see. So impact on this issue. This one I think, as I was doing the talking, I spoke about enhanced visibility, real time. I won't repeat that because of the time. But what I want to emphasize is the integration between TAMS and FDMS. They work together. And this is really towards an integrated compliance framework. Why do I say that? It's because the integration between TAMS and FDMS, it then strengthens the data matching, improves risk assessment, as I have alluded to, enhances the quality of our compliance intervention. And of course, the result is a more efficient way of administering our tax system, and it supports compliance and service delivery. So I won't then say much in terms of legislative updates, since I said I think since the beginning of this year, we have been doing presentations through our regional taxpayer services for us to explain the Finance Act number 7 of 2025, which brought incentives, especially when we are looking at digital service, withholding tax, presumptive rental income. And as I would summarize on this Finance Act, it's also representing a comprehensive modernization of the Zimbabwe's tax framework that is in promotion of investment, digital economy, taxation, and broadening the tax base. The nitty-gritties, I think you have heard about them, so I won't say much. The DSWT, it's a 15% withholding tax, and please take note, for those who would then want to ask this question, to then say, through terms, we are not seeing the return and everything. Yes, the return is not yet in terms, so whoever is supposed to pay this, they need to do it manually. Sorry for that. It's a progression. We are getting there. That's why we are having terms phase 2 coming. We've got also presumptive, that's presumptive rental income tax, sorry. The other one was for DSWT. It's the presumptive rental income tax. And to also take note that those who had already registered for income tax, they can continue doing that, but the new ones, the new taxpayers, then you can take this new route. It's a final tax. And when we talk about final tax, it means there are no deductions. Are we together? I usually like response. If people are too quiet, I think I'm alone. I've been a trainer also for some time. So you bear with me. So there are no deductions. There are no allowables permitted. So you cannot talk of a credit, you cannot talk of a refund, you cannot talk of a set-off. It's a final tax. Are we together? Okay. So, looking ahead, where are we going? As ZIMRA, and I think it has been said about AI, about data analytics, about the digital transformation. We are not left behind. We are also there. So when we are looking forward in terms of compliance, we are saying we need to embrace AI as well to shape the future of revenue administration through these intelligent systems and predictive data analytics. So when we are looking at our taxpayer education, we need also to expand our digital literacy programs, the use of our system, which I have already spoken about, terms, FDMS, through the fiscal gadgets and also the portals. And we want also to enhance voluntary compliance through some, recently we were talking about voluntary disclosure. I think you have made use of it. We have extended it to the end of this quarter, 30th of September. So please, you need to do more. Advise your taxpayers, your organizations to come forward through this window for voluntary disclosure. We also look at policy harmonization. when we are looking at the way we are administering our taxes in Zimbabwe, support the multi-currency policy, and also paying for the VAT payee using the new dates. And of course, as ZIMRA, we would also be looking at our mission and looking at the ways to increase our domestic resource mobilization so that we support national development. And this is all through improved technology and also regional cooperation. We look at, when we are looking at the free trade agenda, this is what we are looking forward to. And in terms of systems, in terms of fiscalization, in terms of what are we looking at in terms of digitalization outlook. I spoke about fiscalization, FDMS, but we are focusing on the fuel sector. So those accountants for those organizations, please check out. We want to have real recording of every liter of dispensed fuel, from border post to fuel depot to the fuel pump, and this is going to be transmitted through the FDMS system. So this is coming, we are already on it. There are just key issues which I had put there to say, like when we are looking at fuel operators, you need to plan for capital outlay. There will be real interfacing demands. There will be added technical complexity in terms of devices. So there is need to keep sector the history of transit fraud and fuel decarding. This is the issues which you should then take note of. They may come as challenges, but as the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, we are there to close the gap. The statutory instrument 88 of 2026 is there, and also the real-time recording will assist, and also only licensed suppliers and developers may then supply or configure the fuel fiscal devices, preserving data integrity, and it's actually building on our FDMS existing real-time infrastructure and self-service portals. And it's actually a plus in that it will curb smuggling and tax leakages, and of course strengthening excise duty and VAT collection. Again, e-commerce. I think in the morning we're seeing a lot of trade, whatever, and everyone is using the electronic commerce platform. We've got people here who are selling their goods online and everything. This is also coming. This is to detect real time, record, quantify, and value every e-commerce. As a trainer, I know that when people start coughing or whatever, some people will be saying, we have enough of the information, but I'm actually coming to the end, and it's also very good so that you are equipped in terms of our taxes. So it's also coming. Let's take note of it and let's prepare. So our motto is my taxes, my duties, building my Zimbabwe. And I want to go back to the values of ICAZ: honest, responsibility, and integrity. Together, let us chart new frontiers in tax compliance, resilience, and sustainable value for our nation, in line with the ZIMRA mission to mobilize revenue and facilitate sustainable compliance with tax and customs laws for the economic development of Zimbabwe. I'm here to serve, and thank you very much for listening. I hope the coughing wasn't too bad. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If we can have 2 or 3 questions for Mrs. Makwangudze. A roving mic, please.
Okay, I'll just use this one. Thank you. I have a pet peeve with ZIMRA. I know you probably don't have the authority to change taxes, but maybe you can pass the message along. If we look at the minister's statement from yesterday, IMTT continues to drop in its contribution to the fiscus relative to other taxes. And I think I speak for a lot of colleagues. Should it not be time to drop it? And if we dropped IMTT, would we not see a rise in other tax heads such as PAYE and VAT and perhaps even actual corporate income tax?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think when you asked the question, you rightfully started with a good statement. Yes, because I think that's why I said we are partners in this agenda. We've got associations, we've got some forums where we can also put across our ideas. So if you rightfully said, I think those are the issues which we then need to put through the different associations as we are contributing to the Zimbabwean tax policy. I think it's a fair answer.
Thank you very much.
Will you take it up the ladder?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question.
Thank you. Thank you for the nuggets and also reminding us that
Where's the person?
I'm here.
Where are you? Oh,
I'm here, partner. Thank you for reminding us that we are your partners. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the work you are doing on voluntary disclosures, etc.
Yeah.
But I've got a couple of questions I have for you here.
Okay.
Number one, it's about how do you rate yourself in terms of your treatment or your relationship with existing customers or those who are really trying their best to comply vis-a-vis those that are outside the bracket like your informal sector. My own assessment is like, I see it's like overburdening on those who are already trying their best to do something. We have seen a lot of audits, with some repercussions, obviously, especially in the banking sector, in your telecoms industry, where we are seeing issues like your Section 1610, a matter that was always there, but the audits are coming, and the clients are trying their best to comply. Issues are there. Obviously, when we do our work, even as accountants, as tax managers, we do our best, but there are always those gray areas. My advice, or my thinking is, we need also to put fair effort in terms of widening the tax base, rather than looking at the same employee who is paying payee. When they go into the shop, they steal 2% and 1.5% IMTT. We talk about it, but we see like those who are trying to comply are still overburdened. Number two, you said you are a partner. I repeat that.
Yeah.
Our liaison officers, are they not like relationship managers? My thinking is we should be seeing a lot of effort coming from these liaison officers in terms of some advisory, because they see the returns that the clients are submitting, they deal with them day to day. If there are some loopholes, why are they not also advising the clients? But you see another office coming in the form of audit now coming in to unearth those controversial issues. And the liaison officer will then tell you, just to comply. I think the liaison officers should be partners as well and help clients along the way throughout this relationship. Number 3, the last one.
Okay.
On DSWT, yeah, it's feedback. The way we implemented it as a country, it obviously had loopholes. Straight from the ministry into ZIMRA to the clients, it was a comply immediately. But the one giving you the instruction, if you just ask 1 or 2 questions, they will tell you we are not clear. We can forgive you for that. But even up to now, if you check on your terms, I don't know, maybe it was updated recently, I don't know. We don't have the terms written. We are still paying just to do a manual return and share with you. But now with your terms, you know what triggers a movement of funds from the single account into your ZIMRA account is the return. So we are saying since January, when clients started complying, you haven't benefited from those funds because they are just like in suspense accounts. What do you say about that? Thank you so much, our dear partner.
Thank you very much. You were referring to which tax type?
I spoke about the digital services
The
with the
digital
wording tax, the
services with wording
15.5%,
tax.
not the 15, yes, the 15.5%.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those very critical questions, observations, advice. I'll start with the first one, where you said, ZIMRA, what is ZIMRA? How is it reaching out when we are looking at everyone coming into the net? So you find that as the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, through terms, when I want to respond to audits, I'm not sure whether it's still the same, because our audits, they are now not just the usual audits where we were, at times I know people would come to my office to say, I've got a team from LCO, I've got a team from the revenue assurance, I've got a team from debt management. But I think you would agree with me that because of the of the new system, where we are now saying one of the module under terms is the risk engine, we are now doing our audits in line with the risk engine. It's now something which is now orderly, because it picks cases in line with the parameters which we have put in the system. And now our audits, they are not just now haphazard. I think I need to get a feedback there, because I thought in terms of audits, we are now doing orderly auditing. So in terms of reaching out, we've got the block management system, which we actually implemented it so that we focus. It was a strategic decision to focus mainly on our informal sector, because with the block management system, we want to improve on the tax compliance. We want to increase the tax bed, the tax base, so that everyone partake of this cake. So I know, yes, it's an issue to then say maybe it's the same person, they are the same companies, they are the same institutions. But through the block management system, where we are sending our officers out there, the advantage is that they will be doing the registering there and there. When they go out, they will check on the compliance of the various sectors, and at the same time, they will also assist them in terms of record keeping, so that they are now contributing to the growth of the economy. So this is what we are doing to reach out. And in terms of the other issues like information and everything, we are engaging in workshops, stakeholder engagements, so that we discuss these issues. But for those who are already there, we've got our annual taxpayer appreciation, where we really appreciate that you are compliant, and that's what we expect from people, especially who have public officers being accountants, who have tax agents being accountants, and we are partnering for success. So basically, that's what we are trying to do. That's why, and also we have a lot of public notices which we send out explaining every tax reform which will be coming along. So we try to make sure that you've got that information. Number two, you said the partnership is like it's weak, hey? From our side, where we are looking at our liaison officers. The correct thing is that the liaison officer, who is the relationship officer, should be informing you daily. It's like those who are in a marriage. You can't afford to say, even when you came here, those who are married, I think you were updating, isn't it? We are here, we are at Boma, we are going for a cruise. Mrs. Makwangudze is taking long. That's the update. So that's what the liaison officers need to do. If you have missed anything, they need to remind you, you haven't submitted your return, there's something which is still pending in your terms. So that's what we expect them to do. But if they are not doing that, we are in a partnership. You need also to poke the partner. Why are you quiet? Is everything okay? Vanetsei liaison officers. Anjo, kana zvatonetsa, you've got the relationship managers. I'm having this challenge. That's why we've got all the contacts for the manager, the regional manager, the commissioner, our contact center. So we shouldn't be quiet. You know what? With where we are going, ZIMRA is not something to fear. You just need to be free like that so that we strengthen. Yes, we strengthen our partnership. Then thank you very much on the feedback for DSW tax, withholding tax. I think I spoke about the enhancement of terms. You know, at times when we were busy running with terms, there were also some legislative changes which were being done. So when we say terms is now live, we then needed to then amend the way we had actually configured our system. So we apologize for that, but it's under consideration. We are having terms phase 2, and it will be looking at all those returns, and we are actually configuring in line with the new legislative changes which were brought by Finance Act number 7 of 2025. I hope I have responded to you fairly.
Thank you, Mrs. Mukogo. Can we have the last question, the person with the mic?
Where is the person?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Partner. I think most of the questions that I also wanted to ask have been asked by the previous speaker, but I just want to emphasize on the issue of the liaison officers and the Ndinda spirit. I think there's need for some improvement on that one.
Officers?
Yeah, when it comes to all this, where you mentioned that one was going to up. So perhaps there's need for some education. I like to wait and then come and apply the Ndinda spirit or approach. Then another.
Sorry, on that question, the education should be buttressed from which side of the partnership? Are you saying the education of our officers or accountants?
The officers.
The officers need to be educated.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you. Then another question speaks to the issue of payee under the multi-currency system. I still do not understand the rationale for taking USD to be our best currency when it comes to multi-currency per year. Yet we are saying our currency, where we are moving to monocurrency, the ZIG. But yet we are saying when you want to now charge per year, let's go back to the USD. Worse enough, we seem to be so strict to the application of the rate where we are using the official rate. Yet the RBZ itself has a little bit of relaxed its muscles and allowed some slight premiums on the rates to try and express the macroeconomic realities. So I'm not sure what can be done on that aspect. So the other questions, yeah, I think the other questions have been asked. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that critical question. I take note where you said the other partners, the revenue officers, they need to be educated. Yeah, it's true. As ZIMRA, we partner with IMF, ATAF, so that we've got the regional fair, of course, the baseline being our laws here in Zimbabwe, but we do a lot of benchmarking and we encourage them to know the business model of their other partner. So I think I take note so that we buttress, we really emphasize to say whether it's our legislation, the changes, and everything. I know income tax is so complex, but we do a lot of refresher courses so that our officers, they are up to the scratch when they are dealing with a CA. So I take note, and we will improve on that so that they understand the business model, they understand because I emphasize to say, their other partner, yourselves, you should also interpret the legislation correctly so that we avoid objections and everything. But that is noted, say. Then when we come to payee, I think it's similar to the first question, to then say some of these, they are policy issues, and that's where we need then to engage. We need to engage. But when we go back to honesty as our core value, as ICAZ, we are also paying in USD, isn't it? Most of us here. Are we not paying in USD? Yes, our currency, we know that it's ZIG. That's why we then say for income tax, that's where we then said we are employing 50-50. But your comments have are noted, and I think these are issues of policy, and when we get for us to really then speak and to advise when we are looking at your input for legislative changes, please, we always say your associations should always put across these critical issues so that we improve the Zimbabwe tax landscape. Is it okay? We then say if there are no more questions or comments, then I want to thank you for your attentive listening. Be blessed.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Makwangudze. If you can just hold on for your token of appreciation. Can I call up Rutendo to come and give a token of appreciation? Another round of applause for the tax and compliance updates as Rutendo comes up. So just a reminder to complete our feedback on the QR codes that have been sent through on our WhatsApp. So please do so.
This is my daughter. How can this coincidence? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. As we move on to the last session before lunch, I would like to call upon Bank ABC, one of our gold sponsors, to come and give us their presentation. And I would like to ask the panelists for the panel discussion one to prepare.
We see the dreams taking shape, the businesses flourishing, the families building their futures. At Bank ABC, we don't just witness this.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, I just would like to request for us to just give a round of applause for ICAZ for putting all this together and making this all possible. Great, thank you. My name is Michael Msarurwa. I'm a manager with the Private Banking Club with Bank ABC. It's truly an honor to be standing amongst Zimbabwe's greatest professionals in terms of finance. You're the ones running the future of Zimbabwe, asking all these pertinent questions, making sure that we move in the correct direction. While you maneuver your careers and also the vast financial spectrum that we find ourselves in, we don't want you to be worrying about your banking. So we, as Bank ABC, we have got very innovative solutions and very interesting deals that we have for you as our finance professionals. We believe that all of you in here qualify to benefit from our products, from private banking to stockbroking, fund management, be it in investments in properties. If you want to invest for your first property or even for investment purposes, please indulge us. Our desk is right outside. Just come through and have a word with us, leave your details with us. Our relationship managers will be in touch with you, and then we can set you up basically with the very good deals that we have for you as Bank ABC. With that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Bank ABC. Another round of applause for Bank ABC. So now to come to the last session before lunch, I would like to sincerely apologize. The Honorable Minister could not join us. But we will continue with the discussion relating to national economic outlook and policy. And if I can call upon the panelists to come through, as I call out the names, can we have the profiles coming up on screen as the panelists come to the front? So our panelists are Tinashe Murapata, Tinashe Mukogo, Edington Mazambani, and our moderator, George Nheweyembwa. Can we have the first profile for Tinashe Murapata?
Tinashe is the CEO and founder of Leon Africa, an investment holding company, and previously worked in London for Barclays Bank. He has extensive experience as an economist and banker across developing African markets, continuing this research through XDS Zimbabwe and as country economist for the Economist Intelligence Unit. Leon Africa actively invests in UPro Contact, a 500-seat Harare-based BPO serving UK clients, as well as in property and XDS Zimbabwe, the country's largest credit data management firm. He also shares market commentary on social media as Baba_Nyenyetsi and hosts the weekly YouTube show Friday Drinks. He studied at UZ, Wits Business School, and HCC Paris, and is completing a global EMBA with Triumph, NYU, LSE, HCC.
Thank you. Profile for Tinashe Mukogo.
Tinashe Mukogo is a finance and strategy professional, analyst, and entrepreneur with nearly 20 years of experience. A chartered accountant trained at Deloitte, he later earned an MBA from INSEAD, specializing in corporate finance, technology, and innovation strategy. He has held roles across Zimbabwe, the USA, Nigeria, Germany, and South Africa, with Deloitte, Siemens AG, and Siemens Healthineers. Tinashe is the founder and editor of Money and Moves, an award-winning publication covering Zimbabwe and the SADC region, and also leads Mbewu Research and serves as principal at Capital Nexus Africa, advising executives on strategic and investment decisions across the continent. He is a regular commentator on the national economic outlook and policy landscape.
Thank you. The profile for Edington Mazambani.
Edington Mazambani is the Chief Executive Officer of the Zimbabwe Energy Regulatory Authority, ZERA, having assumed the role in September 2020 after serving as acting CEO since 2018. A chartered accountant by profession, he previously served as ZERA's Director of Finance and Administration from 2012, bringing extensive experience in finance, auditing, corporate governance, and executive leadership across the manufacturing, construction, telecommunications, mining, and engineering sectors in Zimbabwe and the DRC. He trained with Deloitte & Touche and holds a Bachelor of Accounting honors from the University of Zimbabwe and a BCompt honors from UNISA. Outside his career, he has a keen interest in agriculture, specializing in livestock, maize, and tobacco farming.
Thank you. Over to you, George.
Thank you, Yvonne. Welcome back, Tinashe, the other Tinashe. Good to see you. Fun fact, I was his youth leader once upon a time, when we were both still very religious. Oh, so when we were both still very good little boys. Mr. Mazambani, welcome to the panel. Also used to bank you a long time ago. I don't know if you remember. I was a lot younger and there was less hair on my face when I was still at ZB. I know. Gents, we're sitting here between the people and their lunch and their afternoon activities. So I hope we can keep it a bit lively and punchy and straight to the point, so we can let everybody go and get something to eat. So where we sit this morning, we're sitting at the end of a week where there's been a lot of very positive news coming out about the economy. The Minister of Finance, if he were here, he would say Zwakarongeka, because all his numbers are in the positive. If there were graphs, they would be going up and to the right. We are getting corroborating consumption numbers from the private sector. We've had Delta publish its numbers in the past few days. Their trading update, which is showing double-digit growth across almost all of their categories, which seems to corroborate what the Honorable Minister is also telling us about the economy. We've had the World Bank and the IMF also coming out with some very powerful numbers. And there seems to be consensus that even with the impact of the drought that is impending, we are going to hit a GDP growth in the region of about 5% in 2026. And the 2025 numbers have been finalized at about 8%. And again, there's consensus between our own Ministry of Finance, the World Bank, the IMF, and other groupings. As that former Ugandan minister would say on that famous meme, the economy is... So, Mr. Murapata, upper middle income economy by 2030. The definition our government is using for upper middle income economy is gross national income of 4,000 per capita. Are we on track?
Thank you very much, George. Just before I answer that, I need to make something very clear. When I made the comment around accountants keeping cash, that was before I knew that ZIMRA was in the house. I need to make it very clear that those were just purely allegations. And now to the important matter on whether or not we'll be a middle-income country, which those are World Bank numbers that they give, and I think upper middle income is above $4,000 per annum. Are we on track? It depends if you believe the numbers. There are certain numbers. Is Zimbabwe growing? Yes, it is in a recovery mode. When you look at 2020, 2023 was really bad. So when you look at 2024, 2025, we have been recovering. So that's without any doubt. But the question is Zimbabwe a $60 billion economy? And almost all the people that I know that have dealt with the numbers will tell you that that's not true. So then the question is, where are we actually? And then when we look at where we are actually, and I think we'll get into the numbers later on, I would say we are far from becoming a middle income. But if you go with the trajectory of the numbers that they're using, then yes, indeed, we'll become a middle income country, but only in numbers, or only on paper, and not in reality, like everything else in Zimbabwe.
The other Tinashe Mukogo. You spend a lot of time analyzing companies. When you look into those numbers, does the 60 billion feel real? Could we maybe help him with the microphone? But in the meantime.
Yeah, it's a very good question. And, you know, so just for context as well, I tend to work with a bottom-up approach, right? So I try to draw economic insights from what's happening at the company level and try to see if that reflects what's happening at the national level, in a sense. So I think, you know, trying to get to an exact number is obviously very difficult. There are some numbers that could sort of support Tinashe's point to say that if you look at certain KPIs like market cap of the companies versus relative to GDP, right? So how big are your listed companies compared to GDP? I think right now the ratio for Zimbabwe is about 8%, right? But if you look at our peers, you know, even in Zambia, it's like 20%. If you look at Kenya, it's above 20%. In more established markets like South Africa, it's actually 200%. But that's a little bit distorted because they've got like Naspers, which has a massive valuation driven by the investment in the China business. So one could make that argument that, well, actually, if you look at that ratio, then maybe those numbers aren't as reflective. But on the other hand, if you also then see like the growth that we've encountered over the last few years, I think it's very real. Delta's peak revenue, if we go back historically, was way less than $1 billion, maybe 700 or so million. And now we're seeing that those more and more companies are getting above that 1 billion mark. So when you look at that, there is some semblance of growth. Whether the number is 60, we don't know. But I guess if you're a company, what you want to know is there growth? And I think that's pretty much the case right now. Yeah.
I feel like I've just walked into a rabbit hole, right? Murapata, the economist, is saying the numbers are not fairly stated. And Mukogo, the accountant, is saying on the one hand and on the other hand, he's not quite coming out. But anyway, we'll let you get away with it. Mr. Mazambani, from an energy perspective, when we look at the diesel consumption, when we look at the power consumption, does it seem to support the growth?
I think when you look at the numbers, yes, that will support growth, but the one thing we need to be very careful about is the growth being spread around the economy. Why I say so, we might say we reach 4,000, the upper middle income status, but is the wealth evenly spread in the economy? If it's not, then it's just like what Tinashe said, it's just numbers. But coming back to consumption of fuel and electricity, yes, there is growth, particularly in the mining sector. There's a lot of fuel going into the mining sector. There's also a lot of electricity consumption in the mining sector, including privately installed generation capacities in most of the mines. I think most of the mines now do have their own power stations. So yeah, in that regard, one would see some growth. But as to how the growth is being shared in the country to say we've arrived at being upper middle income society, then that's another question for another day.
Okay, so everyone seems to think there is growth, whatever the actual number is, and maybe there's questions around how it's spread. And we're definitely marching somewhere. If we take away the label of upper middle income, but we're marching somewhere and people's livelihoods are probably improving. Now, Mr. Mazambani, wearing a hat as a senior civil servant, is our bureaucracy up to it when we say, look, the president has charted a course, upper middle income, and 4 years to go, 3 years to go. Is the public bureaucracy up to actually executing and taking us there? This is in the context of audit findings. We also had this week the Auditor General presenting some shocking findings. Well, in fairness, they were better than the previous Auditor General presented. So I don't know whether it's a change of the presenter or whether there's actually been some material improvement. I think many people in this room will speak of an abhorrent culture in most government offices that we go and seek service in. I've heard it said that they're not civil servants, but evil servants. Not my words, I'm just saying. Yeah, are we up to it? And if not, where are the challenges and what needs to be done?
Okay, thank you. I think I would need then to tackle your question in two aspects. Issues of governance, that's where the reports are coming from. Then issues of bureaucracy. I think in terms of bureaucracy, there's been a marked improvement in performance at government departments. I think one would attribute it to the change of the management system to RBM. I think it has brought in some changes. The issues of contracting, which is done by all senior civil servants and all heads of parastatals and state-owned enterprises and all senior managers. I think we have seen some marked improvements, and people can testify if you go to the Ministry of Home Affairs, for instance, at passport offices, at national IDs, birth certificate, death certificate. I think there's been some marked improvement. If you go to even to Ministry of Transport, I think you can see some improvements, but the issue of governance remains an issue which needs to be tackled. What needs to be done, I think, is to commit to serve the country first than to serve oneself. I think most senior civil servants and seniors in the parastatals and state-owned enterprises, we go in there to feather our nest, and I think that's where we need to tackle that. I'm happy that we now have a corporate governance unit within government, but maybe we need to do more. I now feel that the Corporate Governance Act is being put into practice, but there's still that lingering hangover of being a bureaucrat, being in government, having authority. And even to take it to closer home at micro level, at ZERA, you still feel that there's that lethargy, something which we can do within minutes, within days. We seem to want to say the law says, and we want to have comfort in the law. But we are, at our level, we are working to digitalize our system so that our service becomes much quicker and it becomes more transparent. For instance, the portal we want to introduce at ZERA about licensing, you should be able to track in the comfort of your home that the license is sitting in Mazambani's office for the last 3 days. And that way we can then be held accountable to our actions. But I think in terms of bureaucracy, yes, bureaucracy, it's improving. In terms of governance, we still have got a lot of work to do as a country. And I think it cuts even to private sector. People talk of corruption as if it's a preserve of the public sector. I think there's also corruption in the private sector, and we need to tackle this head on as a country. Thank you.
In the private sector, we call them incentives, Mr. Mazambani. But I just want to push back a little bit and maybe scratch a little bit and go a bit deeper on this. We have scenarios in which the Minister of Information comes out of cabinet, makes a policy announcement, and I'll use a fairly innocuous one, but annoying one. The price of parking. We are told cabinet met today and said parking is now going to be 50 cents. Months later, we're still paying $1. And in my head, the policymaker's done his job, but there is a bureaucrat somewhere who, for some reason, and in their infinite wisdom, is not implementing the policy. What's going on there?
You're putting me in a spot, but because you know why I'm saying you're putting me in a spot. What we did as ZERA was that soon after those announcements, we didn't wait for the SIs. The SIs came when I was here about the reduction in our license fees. We implemented soon after the cabinet decision. We went on to do that. But talking to other colleagues, without mentioning names, they would always, some we even wrote to, who are affecting our projects, to say, can we consider implementing the cabinet position? They were talking of waiting for the laws to be aligned. But you can also give them a benefit of the doubt in that regard, because even at cabinet ministers level, without mentioning a particular minister, ministers were saying we are waiting for the alignment of the law to the cabinet position. So some then opted, because it's to your advantage, some then opted to say, okay, fine, let's wait for the laws to be aligned with the cabinet pronouncements. But for some of us, because we feel that the sector is dying for investment, we need investment to come like yesterday. We went ahead and reduced our license fees and implemented all those which were agreed and communicated from cabinet. We implemented the following, I think it was on a Tuesday. By end of that week, we had already aligned our licensing process to align with the pronouncement from cabinet. But I think, look, they were hiding behind the law, and you can't really begrudge them because they had to wait for the law to be aligned. But some of the laws, I think, are being aligned now. Thank you.
When the SI did come, it was just 2 or 3 pages. So one wonders how it takes that long to write a 3-page document.
I think
sorry, it's not me. You're really asking the question.
You're really putting me in a spot, but I'll answer that because I'm also experiencing the frustration because of lack of draftspeople in the Attorney General's office. They really sit in a very precarious position that draftspeople are in high demand. They train people, they don't last. We actually are also guilty of that poaching. We've taken 2 from them. So I think if you imagine with that pronouncement which was done by cabinet, a lot of SIs had to be done. For ourselves, we had to do 11, 12 actually. And you don't have people to review those SIs. So the turnaround time obviously will take longer. Because you have got new people coming in. When it goes for review, by the very few people, senior people are still there. There's always a toing and froing, and at times it even goes back to implementer, like certain SIs came to us, they changed from what we had initially suggested, and you see that the changes actually made the SI defective. Then you go back to argue, and it takes longer because of lack of experience at the Attorney General's office. It's actually, making the turnaround times a bit longer.
Mukogo, I see you want to say something, but just before you do that, Malvin, please could we put up the QR code so audience members can just type questions. I see some people are using the previous link. It's also fine. Just use the previous link if you still have it and put your questions there. But could we just put it up on the screen, please? Go ahead, Mukogo.
I was actually gonna wait for the question because I might just go on a complete tangent. So please feel free to go to your next question. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we've put the public sector in a corner, but is the private sector up to it, Tinashe? Is the culture right? Is the mindset right? Do we have the skills? Are we making the correct investments? Or are we all sitting here and enjoying this windfall that is coming from the high gold price and convincing ourselves that the economy is growing?
It's a very good question. And maybe to also just go on what Edington was saying, one of the things that's very interesting about the public sector versus the private sector, it's similar like how he made reference to the fact that corruption is often seen as something that's a public sector thing, but it's it's across the board. But there's another thing that I found very interesting in our market, is that you find that the people in the public sector tend to actually be more able to take critique than the private sector, which is a very interesting dynamic. And I think within our market, it's one of the things that we probably need to advance on, because in order for us to become a more advanced and developed market, we have to have an ecosystem, and that ecosystem also involves a culture where there is critique and pressure on management in some cases, right? Because from what I've found, you generally find the companies where there's a dominant shareholder or a founder shareholder or similarly are the ones that tend to do well. But there are a lot of companies that the shareholder base is maybe fragmented, and it's very easy for those companies to progress for a long time without actually any sort of significant pressure. And then there's underperformance that takes place, right? And I think we're not yet used to having that sort of pressing of difficult questions in the private sector, which is something that I think we need to develop on if we're able to grow and to advance. I think your second question in terms of what else needs to happen in terms of the culture, I do think as well, one of the areas which I think was mentioned in the previous panel that we haven't yet gotten very good at is capital allocation, largely because we've been very defensive over the last few years. But if you look at the companies that have done very well, they're very good at allocating their capital, which means either making acquisitions, investing in the future and making those decisions rather than just maintaining the status quo. So it's very good now. We're now seeing a lot more M&A activity happening now, which historically has been very isolated to a few groups that have done a lot of M&A transactions. And I think that's one of the things that we need to start to do a lot more of, in addition to exploring other markets like Tinashe mentioned earlier.
Okay, Murapata, do you want to weigh in? I'm not getting any questions on the platform. I don't know if it's working. Somebody just type something, the moderator is very good looking or something like that. Just so I can see if the platform's working.
In terms of the Zimbabwean bureaucracy, what we need to do is relative to what, right? So you need to compare it to Southern Africa or Africa. And we do very, very well when you look at productivity. So I don't think that's necessarily a problem. In terms of the private sector, again, in terms of productivity, you seem to find that we actually do very, very well compared to elsewhere. Where we don't do very, very well is actually in the informal sector. And the World Bank did produce a report in 2018, but I understand that they're actually working on another report where our informal sector, primarily because of lack of capital. So if you're in the informal sector in Mozambique or in Kenya, there's access to capital, and it's also cheaper, so they tend to be more productive, whereas in Zimbabwe, it's very, 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 very low. So the average is usually around productivity of somebody in the informal sector compared to the formal sector is something to the region of 33%, but in Zimbabwe, it's lower than that. It's closer to 25% and 20%. So I think that's where we really have a problem. So I would say that even on corruption, I mean, you guys are talking about corruption. Zimbabwe is still incentives, or whichever language that you want to use. Zimbabwe is still doing relatively better than most of Africa, relatively better than most of Africa. And in productivity, Zimbabwe is still okay. I think the big issue with our civil service is a lot more, but it has to do with, ghost workers and things like that, but I'm sure that will be cleaned up. But if you take away the ghost workers, what is termed ghost workers, and you look at the people who are actually in the bureaucracy, they tend to be more productive than elsewhere. And I'm using a very good example is number of teachers. So if you look at Kenya, you look at Mozambique, and you look at number of teachers and what they're actually able to achieve, number of nurses. Yes, our hospitals may not have the necessary equipment and medicines, but we tend to be more productive. So I don't think that's the issue. The issue is when you look at 2012 and you look at today's economy, is that it has shifted. It is now more informal than it is formal. And unfortunately, the informal sector is less competitive and less productive than our formal sector, than the rest of Africa.
Thanks, Tinashe. Okay, it turns out the platform is working, and a lot of people think the presenter is good looking. But there's an interesting question here, and I want to paraphrase a little bit. But the question is saying, the spirit of de-dollarization is in the air. Now hardly a week goes past without talk about it in the press. We feel like it's coming. The minister is now constantly referring to his roadmap, as is the governor, and ticking off his milestones. And a lot of the milestones that remain are subjective. So the minister and the governor could have coffee on any given day and tick off the remaining milestones. The question is saying, what is that going to mean for Zimbabwean business, and how do we prepare?
I think it's one thing that we're always prepared for. That's why we allegedly keep cash under our mattresses and not in the bank. But I will approach it this way, George. If you really think about it, dollarization has been good for everybody. It's been good for Treasury. They're now getting close to 9 billion, maybe 10 billion US dollars. Close to 80%, 90% of it is US dollars. They're better off. Companies, I think Tinashe was talking about Delta and a lot of the companies that are reporting, primarily it's because it's US dollars. When it was not US dollars, whenever there's currency turbulence, they don't do as well. They're doing well. We're doing well in our pockets because we've got US dollars in our pockets. So it seems like from an economic perspective and the incentives, the dollar works for everybody. But unfortunately, that's not how politics works. And the way politics works is there is always a constituent that wants to see monocurrency because that's how they benefit. Primarily because our big issue is expenditure. So while we're collecting 9, 10 billion US dollars, unfortunately, it's not enough. Our appetites have grown and have grown beyond what we actually get from the fiscus. So there's always a constituent that will fight back, and they will fight back viciously. And what I want to say, especially to the members, is we also need to fight back. We need to push back, because if we don't push back, we will get monocurrency. You can guarantee they will push hard,
because that's why, because it's politicking, and politicking has nothing to do with the evidence on the ground. But what I tend to find, especially with the current government, is that do not ever think that the debates that we're having are only happening outside of government. Even within government, it's not like everybody wants the monocurrency. There are those who firmly believe in dollarization, and we need to help them. We need to give them the evidence, and we need to always show that there is benefit for us remaining dollarized. Then finally is, what if they win? What if the faction or the people that want monocurrency eventually win? The reality is, if you look at diaspora remittances, just this yesterday when the midterm was released, in 5 months it was 1.5 billion US dollars. It means we're closer. It's gonna be slightly lower in the next 6 months of the year, but we're looking at about 3 billion. And if you think about 3 billion, that's about 250 million a month that we're receiving from just remittances. And these are disaggregated, so they're not going to one individual. They're going to as many individuals as possible. Then you've got gold. Gold, we probably get up to maybe 5 billion or so from gold, and a lot of that gold is again coming from individuals. So for you to have a monocurrency, you're going to have to convince these two constituencies that they can change their money to a monocurrency. I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, so
They will fight back.
So Murapata is in the clouds, right? He's saying it won't happen. But
No, I'm saying it will happen, but on the ground, the market will resist, and they will continue trading in cash like we're doing, like we're allegedly doing at the moment.
But the asker of the question, okay, let me just say a few words before you go ahead and answer. The asker of the question is saying, if it happens and we get an SI, and these sort of SIs, the bureaucrats are very keen to implement, what does it mean for me as a finance manager of a business? How does my business prepare for this, and how do we survive in that environment?
The framework you must use is, if it does happen, then it's 2017. It's 2016, 2017, when we knew that there's an RTGS in the market, but we're trading in cash. What does it mean for your businesses? If we use the big companies, they will suffer the most because they cannot trade on the para market. So they have to be official. If you look at Econet, the worst trading period for Econet is when you have a monocurrency. Similarly, with a lot of our companies. So it'll be tough for the formal businesses, and they will have to informalize as well.
Thank you, George. I think the issue of de-dollarization, we need to approach it with an open mind. I know we have the comfort of using the dollar, but it's coming at a huge cost. Angola used to be a dollar economy some years back, and it was very expensive to visit Luanda. I tell you, I was there 2 weeks ago. Their Kwanzaa is making cost cheaper. It's actually much cheaper now to go to Angola. And we've got examples within the region, Zambia, Mozambique, DRC. How did they adopt their own currency? It's very difficult. Once you dollarize, it will be very difficult to de-dollarize, but there are advantages which we need to look at. So once the Reserve Bank and the Ministry of Finance get the fundamentals right, we should consider de-dollarizing and have our own currency and support it. And it will also support the growth of this economy. The dollar, yes, it's good, it's giving us stability, but it's giving us a huge premium as an economy. And it might actually be holding us back in terms of growth.
You guys are being idealistic, right? And maybe Tinashe, you can help here, the other Tinashe. I am sitting there, I'm the finance director of this company. Boom. Yes, these things always come on a Sunday night. Monday morning. How do I get ready for that Monday morning? And what's going to change in my life?
Yeah, so my view is maybe a little bit unorthodox. I don't think you should think about that at all. I don't think you should think about that at all because fundamentally, in my view, I don't think de-dollarization is or monocurrency is an extinction level event. But if it does happen suddenly, it's an extinction level event. And if that happens tomorrow, there's nothing that you could have possibly ever done that will prepare you for that. So I think having it too much stuck into your head actually will limit you making decisions that will allow you to benefit in this sort of, interim timeline. And if you look at, like I said, I always look at what the companies are doing. If you look at the best performing companies, they've all been increasing their capex over the last few years, and that's in US dollars, right? So they're anticipating a US dollar return, and they've been doing exceptionally well. So I think if you spend too much time worrying about how to adjust for that extinction level event, it doesn't help, because if it happens, there's nothing that's going to prepare you. So for me, I actually think that this window where there's a lot of discussions and a lot of things going on is actually a time to potentially be more on the aggressive and the offensive side, because I think it will resolve itself going forward. And because like what Tinashe mentioned, this is a very unique situation where incentive-wise, everybody's actually in a better place today, whether it's the public sector, whether it's private sector, whether it's foreign investors, whether it's politicians, everybody is in a better place because we have this current stability. Just to give you a data point, when I looked through all of the companies and tried to research what was the biggest drive of their positive performance, right? 84% of those companies in their trading update said it was stability, currency stability, macroeconomic stability. That was the number one thing. And despite the fact that we're having a record gold year, a record agricultural year, that was only 39% of the companies. So the biggest lever that we have right now that is driving performance is this stability. And likewise, if that were to disappear overnight, there's nothing that anyone could potentially do. So I genuinely think that if we ever get to the point of the monocurrency, right, I don't think it'll be a wake up suddenly, because if that happens, then I think it's game over, as we would say.
So again. Okay, before Yvonne gets up, because I can see her twitching now, I've got two more questions. If you guys could answer this one very quickly. If the price of gold collapses all of a sudden, is it a catastrophe for the economy, or is it not a big deal? Catastrophe or not a big deal?
Not a catastrophe as long as we have the currency stability.
Mr. Mazambani?
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I was a bit distracted. If you can repeat the question again, sorry.
If the price of gold collapsed tomorrow, is it a catastrophe for the economy, or is it not a big deal?
No, it is really a big deal for the economy, because I think gold is one of the minerals which is propping up the country, formally and informally. So it will definitely be a big deal.
Tinashe?
Our biggest problem has always been currency. So I think that if it collapses, if gold prices collapse, yes, for the mining industry and its contribution to GDP would obviously be a problem, but other sectors will be able to pull through as long as we have currency stability. Our biggest problem is currency instability.
Okay. And then in conclusion, I'm going to ask you, each of you, to name a flower, a bud, or a thorn. A flower is something that we're doing very well as Zimbabweans, and we must continue. A bud is something that we're starting to do very well, and we should nurture. And this could be private or public sector. And a thorn is something that we should stop immediately. Who wants to start?
Yeah, I can start. So the flower would be remittances. Phenomenal, because it's unencumbered money that's just coming into Zimbabwe. The problem is what we're doing with it. Then a bud would be the mining sector. I would say that that is a bud. It obviously needs a lot of capital. That's the fertilizer that we need. But I would say that there's a renewed interest in mining, and it's around what's actually happening globally. And I think that it will be very sustained for a very long time. So I think that that's a bud. The last one is a thorn. currency instability. That's our thought.
Thank you. I think for me, the flower will be the beneficiation trust we have across all sectors: agriculture, mining. I think it's something we can work on. The thorn for me will be the informalization or the focus on informal mining. Not only is it detrimental to the environment, it also makes revenue collection a bit hazy. It also brings with it a lot of illegal activities around those mines, issues of drug abuse and the like. It's being spared by informal mining, and the bug will be probably yeah, that one I think I will skip for now.
Okay. Mukogo?
So I might cheat a bit, but so I think the flower and the bud is the same, which is the innovation in terms of the capital markets. So like what was presented yesterday, I think we are trying to do new things, even though the capital markets have had some challenges. But I think it's good that we are innovating and being more open to that. I would say the thorn is hyperinflation-induced trauma, which I think still wrecks all of us. And part of that is the addiction we have to property on our balance sheets. Understandable, but at some point we have to start unwinding, I think, some of that, both in our personal lives, actually, because we're very levered on property, and as well as companies as well, because that's capital that needs to then be deployed to stimulate the economy. But yeah.
Thank you very much. As you may have picked up from the discussion, there's no one answer to any of these issues. I think what's important is that all of us, wherever we are, we start thinking about these issues, we start talking about them. And as Zimbabweans, we commit ourselves to making this country stronger and better. Thank you very much. Yvonne, over to you.
Thank you very much to our panelists and George for taking us through the national economy issues. So thank you, George. And a round of applause for our panelists. So we've come to, we're now close to our lunch break, and we will just have one presentation from First Mutual Health, which is our gold sponsor. So as First Mutual Health is coming up, I would like to give a statement to the ICAZ Winter School delegates.
Your first
and this
salary.
is coming from our gold sponsor, SIMAS.
Your first big achievement. Life is made of unforgettable firsts.
I'm going to read the letter as it is.
Behind every
Dear
first is
ICAZ
care,
Winter School
support,
delegates,
and
we
someone
learned with
helping make
regret
the moment
that the
possible.
planned gorge descent in the height, scheduled
We
for
believe
today
your
between
healthcare should
5
feel
a.m.
that
and
way
7
too,
a.m.
with support,
was unable to
care,
take place
and cover
due
that
to
puts you
circumstances
first.
beyond our control.
The way
I
healthcare
think
should
those
feel.
that will be,
First Mutual
on the
Health
border
puts your health
will
first
agree
with
that
plans
it's beyond our
designed for
control.
every stage in life. Lifestyle and
We
budget,
offer our
giving you
heartfelt
clarity,
apologies
peace of
for the
mind, and
inconvenience
confidence to
and
live
disappointment
fully.
this
Visit our
unexpected
website
change
or
may have
speak to
caused,
an advisor
and
today
we
to
do
find the
appreciate
plan
your
that's right for you.
patience, understanding, and flexibility. Our team was assured by that the reason for the cancellation was only applicable to today the 31st of
Your
July.
first day at school.
I'm sure you know what I mean. And as such,
Your
arrangements
first
for
salary.
tomorrow's descent are not affected.
Your first big
The bus
achievement.
will arrive at the hotel at
Life is made of
5:15 a.m.
unforgettable
and
first.
will depart from the hotel at 5:25
Behind
a.m.
every first is
Thank you for your
care,
understanding
support,
continued
and someone helping make the
cooperation.
moment
We
possible.
cannot wait to see you at 5:25 a.m.
We believe your
This is from
healthcare should
Tinashe
feel that way
Mukogo. A
too,
round of applause
with
for
support, care, and cover that puts you first. The way healthcare should
So a
feel.
round of applause for
First Mutual Health
as
puts
we
your
come.
health first with plans designed for every stage in life, lifestyle, and budget, giving you clarity, peace of mind, and confidence to live fully. Visit our website or speak to an advisor today to find the plan that's right for you.
Between you and lunch, I am sorry, but I hope then your lunch will change after this presentation, the way that you will then eat your lunch.
Your first day at school,
Okay, so may I please have my presentation?
your first salary,
So today I'm just
your
going to talk
first
to
big
you
achievement.
about, the greatest
Life is made of
financial
unforgettable
aspect
first.
of your health.
Behind every first is care, support, and someone helping make the moment possible.
Media, you're letting me down.
We believe your healthcare should feel that way too, with support, care,
So my
and cover
presentation
that
is up
puts
now.
you first.
I'm gonna talk to you
The
about
way
your
healthcare should feel. First Mutual Health puts your health first with plans designed for every stage in life, lifestyle, and budget, giving you clarity, peace of mind, and confidence to live fully. Visit our website or speak to an advisor today to find the plan that's right for you.
Next slide. Oh, I have the pointer. Oh, okay. Okay, so
Your first day at school,
would it pass an external audit? So
Your
the
first
cash flow
salary.
being your energy, your
your
assets,
first big
your
achievement.
organs,
Life
the
is
risk
made of
management being
unforgettable
prevention,
first.
as well as the return on
Behind
investment
every
being,
first is care,
healthy years of
support,
life.
and someone helping make the moment possible. We believe your healthcare should feel that way too, with support, care, and cover that puts
So
you
why
first.
are chartered accountants?
The way healthcare should feel. First Mutual Health puts your health
So
first
you
with plans designed for
so you
every
see
stage
that
in life,
picture, you've got
lifestyle, and
deadlines,
budget, giving you
no time to
clarity,
lose,
peace of mind,
you've got
and
audit
confidence to
files,
live
you've got
fully.
tax
Visit our
returns,
website
and
or
a
speak
very
to an
good
advisor
to-do
today
list.
to find the
So
plan that's
why-
right for you.
Why chartered accountants are at risk actually is because you've got long working hours, you've got prolonged sitting, high stress, poor eating
Your
habits,
first day at school.
poor sleep, reduced physical activity.
Your
and
first
this then
salary.
leads to lifestyle diseases.
Your
These
first big
lifestyle
achievement.
diseases, the four silent killers.
Life is made of
You've got
unforgettable first.
Hypertension, often no
Behind
symptoms
every first is
until it
care,
causes a
support,
stroke,
and
a heart
someone
attack,
helping
or
make the
even
moment
kidney
possible.
failure. You've got diabetes, which can damage
We believe your
eyes,
healthcare should feel that way too, with support,
your
care,
nerves,
and cover that
high
puts you
cholesterol.
first.
It builds
The
up
way
over
healthcare should feel.
silently.
First Mutual
And
Health
often
puts your health first
discovered
with plans
only
designed
after
for
heart
every
attack
stage in
or
life,
stroke.
lifestyle,
Then
and
you've
budget,
got,
giving you clarity,
obesity.
peace of mind,
So it
and
affects
confidence
nearly
to
every
live
organ.
fully.
It
Visit our
increases the
website
risk
or
of
speak
the
to an advisor
diabetes,
today to
hypertension
find the
that I
plan
talked
that's
about.
right for you.
And so just as a note is that these lifestyle diseases, they develop quietly over many years.
Your
but
first
they
day
can
at
often
school.
be prevented. So the five
Your first salary.
best investments you can make.
Your first big
So
achievement.
starting today,
Life is made of unforgettable first.
walk for 30 minutes. At least
Behind
30
every
minutes a
first
day.
is care,
Aim for
support,
150
and someone
minutes of
helping make the
activity
moment
every week.
possible.
Eat better, have your plate should be
We believe your
vegetables,
healthcare should feel that
reduce
way too,
sugar,
with
salt,
support,
ultra-processed
care,
foods.
and cover
So
that puts
there's
you
what we
first.
call, as
The way
Zimbabwe
healthcare should feel.
have
First Mutual Health puts your health first with plans designed for every stage in life, lifestyle, and budget, giving you clarity, peace of mind, and confidence to live fully. Visit our website or speak to an advisor today to find the plan that's right for you.
Lean beef please avoid the pork chops. I was talking to someone just in the morning, and I was saying, if you
Your
can
first
just
day at
avoid
school.
that meaty, that fatty part
Your
of
first
the pork
salary.
chops. I know we all like it. It's quite
Your first
enjoyable,
big
but
achievement.
it poses the lifestyle.
Life is made of
And then
unforgettable
sleep well.
firsts.
I know a lot of us sleep for
Behind
4
every
hours, 5
first is care,
hours.
support,
Aim for
and
7 to
someone
9
helping
hours of
make
sleep.
the moment
Sleep
possible.
actually improves your memory.
We believe your healthcare should feel that way too, with support, care, and cover that puts you first. The way healthcare should feel. First Mutual Health puts your health first with plans designed for every stage in life, lifestyle, and budget, giving you clarity, peace of mind, and confidence to live fully. Visit our website or speak to an advisor today to find the plan that's right for you.
So I know as accountants, you've got KPIs and targets, and so this is your personal health
Your first day at
So
school.
your blood pressure is a KPI, your target.
Your first salary.
On the slide, less than
Your first
120
big
over
achievement.
80.
Life
blood
is made of
sugar
unforgettable
should be
first.
Normal, your cholesterol, your BMI.
Behind every first is care, support, and someone helping make the moment possible.
When you're overdue for an annual medical checkup.
We believe your healthcare should feel that way too, with support, care, and cover that puts you first. The way healthcare should feel. First Mutual Health puts your health first with plans designed for every stage in life, lifestyle, and budget, giving you clarity, peace of mind, and confidence to live fully. Visit our website or speak to an advisor today to find the plan that's right for
30
you.
minutes or so, walk up and down. Book your annual medical examination, reduce sugary drinks, sleep at least 7 hours, and check your
Your
blood
first day
pressure
at
this
school.
month. So find out what.
Your first salary.
As chartered accountants, you protect
Your first big
organizations from
achievement.
financial risk.
Life is
There are
made of
challenges to
unforgettable
protect the
firsts.
most valuable asset you will ever own, which is
Behind
your health.
every first is care,
Greatest wealth is not
support,
found in
and
your
someone
bank
helping
account.
make the moment possible.
Balance sheet. It is found in a healthy
We
food
believe your
and
healthcare should
healthy
feel
mind
that way
allow
too,
you to live
with
a
support,
healthy,
care, and cover that puts you first.
So,
The way
your
healthcare
health
should feel.
journey actually
First
doesn't
Mutual Health puts your health first with
So
plans
throughout
designed
today's
for every
presentation,
stage in
I've
life,
spoken about investing
lifestyle,
in health.
and budget,
Know
giving you
that changing
clarity,
habits
peace of
isn't
mind,
always
and
easy,
confidence
and
to
that's
live fully.
exactly why
Visit our
at First
website
Mutual
or
Health,
speak to an
we
advisor
have
today
developed
to
our
find the
loyalty
plan
rewards
that's right for you.
We believe prevention should be recognized and rewarded. And the program is actually designed to encourage healthy behaviors by rewarding participation
Your first day at school.
and wellness activities such as your annual health checks,
Your first
your
salary.
preventive screenings, physical activity,
Your first big
wellness
achievement.
education, and other healthy
Life is
lifestyles.
made of unforgettable
So
firsts.
every health choice is an investment.
Behind
not
every
only in
first
your
is
future
care,
well-being,
support,
but
and
also
someone
in
helping
reducing
make the
burden of
moment possible.
preventable diseases. Our vision is simple.
We believe your healthcare should feel that way too, with support, care, and cover that puts you first. The way healthcare should feel. First Mutual Health puts your health first with plans designed for every stage in life, lifestyle, and budget, giving you clarity, peace of mind, and confidence to
as
live
First
fully.
Mutual Health,
Visit our website or speak to an advisor today to find the plan that's right for you.
I have mentioned that we believe healthy choices should be recognized and rewarded. And so to thank you for visiting our stand throughout yesterday and
Your
today,
first day at school.
I'll be announcing a few prize winners. So if
Your
your
first
name
salary.
is called, please visit the First Mutual Health stand.
Your first big
to collect your
achievement.
complimentary prize.
Life is
Even
made
if your
of
name isn't
unforgettable
called
firsts.
today, don't worry, we'll be giving away more
Behind
prizes
every
throughout
first
the
is
conference.
care, support,
be sure
and
to
someone
stop
helping
by our
make the
stand,
moment possible.
meet our team, learn more about our
We
products,
believe your healthcare should
and
feel that way too,
discover how
with
healthy
support,
is.
care, and
So I'd
cover
like
that
to
puts
bring
you
us,
first.
Tinashe
The way
Mukogo,
healthcare should feel.
Sangoya,
First Mutual Health puts your health first with plans designed for every stage in life,
and congratulations,
lifestyle, and budget,
Netibasa,
giving you
won
clarity,
a
peace of mind,
First
and
Mutual
confidence
Health.
to live
We
fully.
believe healthier
Visit our
cooking
website
is
or
one of the
speak to an
simplest
advisor
ways
today to
reduce
find the
fat
plan
intake
that's right for
while
you.
still enjoying great meals. So please enjoy our corporate video and thank you.
The African Export.
Your first day at school.
A round of applause for First Mutual Health. Thank
Your
you very
first
much.
salary.
I'm sure
Your
we are
first
guilty
big
of more
achievement.
than one of the items listed.
Life is made of
by our
unforgettable
doctor here.
firsts.
So
Behind
confirm I
every
can
first
ask
is care,
Elephant Hills to remove
support,
the dessert
and someone
table
helping
today.
make the moment possible. We believe
Thank
your
you,
healthcare
First
should
Mutual
feel
Health.
that way.
All right,
The
I
African
think
Export
now
Imports Bank, a
we
proudly
are done
Pan-African
with
institution
our
with a
high
vision
impact
to
sessions for
transform
today.
Africa's trade.
We
mission
can now
to
go for
stimulate
lunch.
consistent
So just a
expansion,
reminder
diversification,
for
and
those that are going
development
for
of
the
African
boat
trade.
cruise, please be by the reception at 14:50. The bus will leave at 3 o'clock sharp so that we meet the time for the boat cruise. In the evening, we shall have a cocktail here at Elephant Hills by the pool, and this will start at 7. So 6:30 people can already start trickling down so that we can start our cocktail at 7. But otherwise, thank you very much for coming through. I hope we had something that we... Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Your first day at school. Your first salary. Your first big achievement. Life is made of unforgettable firsts. Behind every first is care, support, and someone helping make the moment possible. We believe your healthcare should feel that way too, with support, care, and cover that puts you first. The way healthcare should feel. First Mutual Health puts your health first with plans designed for every stage in life, lifestyle, and budget, giving you clarity, peace of mind, and confidence to live fully. Visit our website or speak to an advisor today to find the plan that's right for you.
The African Export-Import Bank, a proudly Pan-African institution with a vision to transform Africa's trade. Our mission, to stimulate a consistent expansion, diversification, and development of African trade, while operating as a first-class, profit-oriented, socially responsible financial institution and a center of excellence in African trade matters. We are now the Afreximbank Group, comprising Afreximbank, our subsidiaries, FEDA, the Fund for Export Development in Africa, and Afrexinsure, offering specialized insurance for trade and investment in Africa, and our managed trust funds. We are headquartered in Cairo, with 6 regional offices and 1 in the Caribbean. Today, we represent global Africa, with 53 participating African states and 13 participating Caribbean states. Our strategy: to realize impact through purposeful interventions based around 4 pillars. Through Pillar 1, intra-African trade and AFCFTA implementation, we promote intra-African trade via initiatives, including the Intra-African Trade Fair, to drive exposure for Africa's brands, goods, and services. The AFCFTA Adjustment Fund, to help African states adjust to the AFCFTA trading environment. The Afreximbank African Collaborative